Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tracking the incredible story of an independent artist who used AI to bring a lifetime of music to life, only to run smack into the invisible walls of the modern music industry. So this whole thing kicks off with a problem that I think a lot of creators can relate to. We're following a composer who goes by HitSong.Writer. And for 30 decades, 30 years, they wrote over 1,000 original songs. The music was there, the words were on the page, but the final piece was missing: the right singer. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll see how a 30-year dream finally got unlocked, the massive experiment that came next, the, frankly, surprising results, what happens when the gatekeepers say no, the lessons learned from the front lines, and what the future holds. Okay, so let's get into it. Technology finally stepped in to solve this very, very human problem. And for this composer, it wasn't about replacing their own creativity, it was about finally completing it. And the big breakthrough was generative AI. A tool called Suno AI let the composer take their original melodies and their original lyrics and pair them with a voice. Now, to be super clear, the AI wasn't writing the songs. It was acting like a session singer, a performer who could finally bring this huge body of work to life and, as the artist put it, resolve a lifetime of regret. So, with this new tool in hand, well, the floodgates just burst open. The composer decided to launch this wild experiment. What if they just released everything? All of it? We're not talking about a slow drip here. This was a total fire hose of music. And they built a pretty slick process for it. You take the original song, you generate the AI vocals, and then you upload it using a distribution service called DistroKid. And DistroKid was kind of the perfect engine for this, because it allowed them to get an album onto major platforms like YouTube, sometimes on the very same day. So for 5 months, you've got almost daily releases and zero marketing spend. Absolutely none. So what happened? Did this massive output actually connect with anyone? Well, the results were not at all what you'd think. And here is where the story gets its first major twist. You see, the songs the composer felt were their masterpieces, you know, the ones with the beautiful melodies and their really thoughtful lyrics, they got basically crickets. No reaction. Instead, the songs that started getting popular were these quick, one-hour concept songs, like one called Battery Zero, which was made for a made-up AI girl group. The audience, it seems, was more interested in the playful experiment than the serious art. And it wasn't just getting plays, it was making money. In 5 months, the project earned $58.74. Now, look, that's not going to pay the rent, but for a project with no marketing, made from songs that were collecting dust for decades, that's proof of concept. That's real. And where did that cash come from? Well, you can see right here. It wasn't Apple Music. It wasn't TikTok. The vast majority of it came from YouTube. We're talking ads and premium streams. And you're going to want to remember that fact because it becomes really important in a minute. Which brings us to our next chapter. Just as the experiment was picking up steam and giving back all this great data, the whole thing just slammed into a brick wall. And not just once, twice. First, the artist gets this email out of the blue from their distributor, DistroKid. It just said, "Your account is blocked." No warning. Just like that, they were cut off. The entire pipeline they'd built to release their music was gone. And here's the really frustrating part. There was no reason given. The artist reached out again and again and just got total silence. The theory is that releasing so much ambient music so fast might have triggered some automated flag for abusing the system, even though it was all original. But they were never told. The project was basically shut down by a secret rule. So what do? You pivot. The artist found another distributor called RouteNote, but it was a serious trade-off. RouteNote is way slower. We're talking a month-long wait for a release, and it takes a cut of your revenue. But, and this is the key thing, their policy explicitly allowed AI vocals, so the experiment could continue, just in slow motion. But then, a new problem. Remember how YouTube was where all the money was coming from? To make their channel look more professional, the artist applied for an official artist channel. And the request was flat out denied. Now, an official artist channel, or OAC, it's a pretty big deal on YouTube. It's what gives you that little music note checkmark and puts all your music videos and tracks into one official-looking hub. And after a month of waiting, the reason for the rejection came back. And this time it was specific. Denied because the vocals were generated by AI. So what can we take away from all this? Because this isn't just one artist's story. It's really a roadmap of what it's like for any creator trying to use these brand new tools right now.
Here are the big lessons. First, even if your song is 100% original, just using an AI voice can get you penalized. Second, if you upload a lot, you might get flagged by a bot. Third, the rules around AI are often a complete black box, and they can be used against you without any warning. Basically, success and revenue are possible, but the very infrastructure we all rely on, it just hasn't caught up to the tech yet.
But this is not where the story ends. All of these setbacks and frustrations didn't kill the project. Instead, the composer is just adapting, changing strategy, and pushing forward. So the path forward looks a little different now. It's less about sheer volume and more about smart marketing for each individual song. The artist is also focused on building a community around this stuff, sharing what they're learning. Because the ultimate goal hasn't changed: to build a real musical legacy, something that could even be passed on to their family one day. This whole journey just goes to show you that while AI can be this amazing key that unlocks creativity, the platforms we all use are still making up the rules as they go. The real challenge today isn't just making the art, it's figuring out how to get past all these invisible walls to find an audience. The artist is actually documenting this entire experiment as it happens, and you can follow along on their YouTube channel, ch_dream. And if you're curious about how to write a hit song, you can find them on Instagram as HitSong.Writer. It leaves us all with a pretty big question. In this new world, how can we build something that truly lasts?